Welcome to Trektrav. I'm Trav, and this is Star Trek Strange New Worlds, episode, I believe, 5? Off hour. And let's just say things get a bit hectic on the Enterprise. Let's get into the review. I'm also doing a review on Treknicity podcast, which is at Treknicity on YouTube. I've also got an interview with Jess Bush, the actor who plays Christine Chapel, which is coming out in a couple of days. So make sure you subscribe and like this video, and it'll be up. It'll be up. And it's been a big week. I've done a lot of stuff for this episode. Let's get on with the review. Oh, by the way, Ribbit's here.
Hi!
So I'm not going to talk about the story. There is spoilers. Fuck the spoilers. But, you know, watch the episode.
Yeah. It's a good episode.
We'll talk about all of the little stuff around the big stuff. Well, anyway, Alpha Shift is going on a weekend. They're having a weekend. The Enterprise gets caught in a wormhole, or a slipstream wormhole, and the ship is thrown into disarray. Things explode. Things go crazy.
Yeah, real quick.
People are locked in places. Oxygen's going away. Grav plating's not working. Systems are shutting down. It's going insane.
And head medical officer is cut in half.
He is splayed in twine.
Yes.
M'Benga and Chapel are in sickbay. Scotty is with Asha. Scotty is just left engineering to think he's going on holiday. Gets stuck in a turbo lift, but he's put in the transporter room with Asha, the new Vulcan character.
Yes.
Una, La'an, Spock are in the galley.
Yeah, it looks like that they were genuinely happy to have some time off.
Yeah, they were having some time off.
They looked like they were enjoying themselves until everything went to shit.
Pike is out of order for about 20 minutes.
Yeah, he gets zapped.
The theme of the episode is, and it's not really, so this one's not overly the genre change we've been having. It's other than the ticking time thing, which is very 24.
Yeah, there's that, and then there's also, I don't know, but this episode again has a lot of gore in it that I just was not expecting.
There's a lot
of shocking.
This season's had a lot of gore, but this episode in particular, there was times when I was like, I knew it was coming, and I looked away.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about like a lot of stuff. We'll talk about Scotty's journey in this is essentially him getting the ship running. You see, he's sort of Pelia's in her quarters, which is filled with junk.
Well, Scotty's sort of trying to.
Scotty's fixing everything.
Yeah, well, he's trusting the ship as well. He's learning. Yeah,
he's learning to trust the ship and learning to sort of feel the ship. And that journey, I liked. It was like it was sort of a C plot, but I liked the fact that he sort of connected with the Enterprise on that way. And the same, and sort of towards the end, when everything's resolved and Pelia and him are touching the Enterprise, they even mentioned he's a miracle worker, which is what they called Scotty in the original series and in TNG. Like, that connection to the Enterprise and that confidence in his own engineering ability, and he comes up with ideas. There is a rather convoluted techno-babble rant, but no more than any other Star Trek, I don't think.
Yeah.
And his story's great. Asha, the Vulcan he works with, she just reminds me of T'Pol all the time, whenever I'm watching her.
She's very T'Pol.
Like,
I feel like that's where her character's... She was probably told, this is who you're going to base yourself off of.
I feel like it. She's nailed Vulcan. She's not as rude in this episode. It's more she's just sort of logical, which I like. I don't like the fact that they made her a bit rude in the first episode. Like, what?
Yeah, but I feel like Vulcans in general come off as rude at first.
I think, and I also, Martin Quinn, who plays Scotty, I don't like. I've read a few people who don't like his interpretation. I like his interpretation of a less confident Scotty.
You know what the most fun part about this episode is when he's in the turbo lift and he's trying to make it work when it's down, and he's like, maybe it's my accent, and then he puts on an American accent. It's a very bad American accent.
My problem with that is the ship literally translates other languages, so it doesn't make any sense at all. It's funny, but it doesn't make any sense.
It's a great part
in my practical brain. But yeah, the Scotty stuff was great. The bridge stuff is sort of functionary. They're sort of like the relay between the
ones. I feel like they're there, but they're not like the main focus.
No. The second group is Una, Laan, Spock, and Dr. Boyce. Now, you don't know who Dr. Boyce is.
Is he introduced in this episode?
That actor as that character, yes. Dr. Boyce is the doctor from the original pilot, The Cage. He's the old man who talks to Pike. That's who it's meant to be. Although somehow younger. But that's who he is. He's the doctor from The Cage.
Okay.
The doctor before M'Benga.
Before or after?
Before.
Okay.
The Cage is before Strange New Worlds.
Oh, okay.
So The Cage is essentially the pilot for Strange New Worlds. The grav plating goes offline in the galley, dancey, piano-y area. And we see like this shot of like the piano keys going down and the glass smashing and stuff like that. And the gravity at the back end of the galley is heavier than the front end. And the only way to fix it is there's a switch on the back end where the gravity is heavier. And they send Una.
Yeah.
Well, Una sends herself essentially because she's Illyrian and genetically engineered to go and do it. And she crawls into heavier and heavier gravity.
Until her bone literally snaps
out of her leg. And that's the part where I was like...
Yeah, it was again, about the gore in this episode.
Oh, it was
quite visual.
It was mass goriness. But I like that because that is what would happen. I don't want to see her struggle. I want to see her impaled by her own bones.
Well,
but it's that kind of thing I enjoyed. Throughout the episode, they're sort of the functionaries. So later on, we find out that they need to get the sensors. They need to find out what's going on. They need to find out about these neutrinos because neutrinos are apparently the major strong force neutrinos, of which apparently can solve everything. And M'Benga, the Enterprise's problems, they are the magic part.
Yeah, can I just point out that the moment that M'Benga gets immediately shunted and cut in half, I had a visual moment where I was like, "Oh!"
Yeah, it was. It was
just shocking.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that later because it's interesting because on Treknicity, when I talked about this, we were talking about how people who didn't know the original series felt watching that. Because if you haven't watched the original series, and haven't really watched the original series, you aren't aware of the fate of a lot of these characters. So, and that's also a problem with this episode. So they need to get this, I want to say, pod thingy out into space to scan for these neutrinos, which will fix the Enterprise. It'll fix M'Benga.
The ion something
MacGuffin.
Yeah.
And so Spock has to go out there because there's radiation, and Vulcans being Vulcans are less susceptible to radiation. And
yeah.
he might die from radiation later on. But so he goes out there to turn on this sensor so they can read things. The sensor's when he gets in there, he sets it off. The sensor does some scanning, but then they have to eject it because it explodes. And Spock is might be dead.
Yeah. Yeah.
Look, the sweet moment of that is that Laan doesn't want to believe he's dead. Even though they've been since the Griffin incident, which is the one where Spock went through things and she went through things, they've been a bit distant.
Yes.
They very much care. She still cares for him. She still sort of likes him. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I found that part of the story. Boyce telling Chapel to abandon M'Benga because he is dead.
As good as dead.
Which is fair enough. I like that. I liked that he was just the straight out it doctor. He did.
Yeah, it's very much that thing. Do your training. Put them in the best care. Let nature take its course.
And we all know that on the Enterprise, that doesn't matter. No matter what generation of Star Trek you watch, if a character's friend's going to die, they're not leaving.
Yeah.
And that brings us to ultimately the biggest story, which we've mentioned a couple of times. M'Benga is splayed in two.
Yeah.
of which you were genuinely surprised that he was splayed in too.
Yeah, no, it was like, I literally was like, whoa!
Yeah. And that reaction of, because you don't know the fate of Mbenga.
Yeah.
Like, Mbenga is in the original series. He's in like 2 or 3 episodes of the original series.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
He's like a background actor. He's the doctor there, but sort of when McCoy's not there, or he's like an assistant to McCoy.
Yeah.
So I knew that. And so I'm going, well, he's not going to die.
Yeah.
And that's the problem with this show being the half like characters we've seen later on, is we know they're not going to die.
Yeah, but that's only if you've actually watched the original series. I feel like
you know Spock is not going to die.
Yeah, well, you know Spock's not going to die, but like there's other characters there that you're not so sure about, especially if you haven't watched the original series.
If you haven't seen any Star Trek, you might not know Spock's going to die. You know Pike is going to die sometime in the future because that's been mentioned in Strange New Worlds and in Discovery.
Yes.
Uhura. You would have to have watched only Strange New Worlds to know that these characters live on. So don't live on.
Yeah. Well, I get what you're saying, but at the same time, I think that particularly a character like a Mbenga, I don't think that a lot of people are going to know, even like Star Trek fans, like because there's an entire generation of Star Trek fans that just haven't watched the original series because it's so hard to watch.
It's not hard to watch. It's just you've got to take into account that it's a 60s show.
Yeah, there's that, but at the same time, some people can't do that. But that's just like a reality of it all.
Yeah, and it's one of those things. Like there's new fans. I know Discovery. I recently found out in its first 3 seasons was in the top 10 of Netflix programming for its first 2 seasons.
Yeah,
like it was hugely successful. Dudes who hate Discovery.
Yeah, amazing how that works. Due to think that doesn't mean that it's somehow someone's favorite Star Trek. Which it is.
Also, I find Mbenga's and Chapel's relationship, out of all of the episodes over all of the series, their relationship is put through some gory shit all the time. They're in the Klingon war together. They're always their stuff is traumatic. And so that bond between them, I think, is what really staples that for them as characters. They're very close.
Yes.
And I would arguably say, out of all of the relationships in the series, theirs is the one that's developed the best.
Yeah, and I do feel like this is like an episode where like this entire season has felt like that Nurse Chapel hasn't been highlighted, but this episode she's very much front and center.
and it's with 10 episodes a season, the rest of which have all been gimmick episodes. This felt very much like a almost normal Star Trek episode, which I was very grateful for. It's like I could take a breath and we don't have something wacky.
It was a bit refreshing, wasn't it?
Yeah, but I was also sitting there going, this is normal Star Trek. This is just, this kind of thing has happened before, but never this graphically bloody.
Yeah, and there's that, and there's also like, I don't know, there's something about the way that they presented it in Strange New Worlds that it's just, it's more visceral, but it's also, I don't know, the stakes feel higher than in other Star Treks where this situation have occurred.
The stakes for me, as a guy who's watched all Star Trek, whenever they put characters who are later seen in an episode and put them in trouble, I'm like, well, but like when in Hegemony, when they put Ortegas and La'an on the Gorn ship, I'm like, one of these people could die.
Yeah.
That's where that sort of, it's tricky for them because Jeopardy-wise, new fans won't know. No. Old fans already know. So it kind of ruins it for old fans, and I don't know. I
don't think it ruins it. I think it's just that when it comes to like newer shows, you've got to sort of, I don't know, put yourself out of the history of shows. Like.
That's so.
If you want the stakes to have the same emotion that they're trying to invoke.
When I watch new shows, that's kind of what I do. I don't really. I can compare them. Like, for example, I think Pike is turning out to be like a little bit of an Archer. Better written and better acted.
Yeah, so good.
But he's a bit like Archer. He's not an authoritative captain. He's sort of his crew does what he wants captain. And I can compare them to the other shows, but the other shows don't represent just the other shows. They represent a nostalgic time for me, me growing up, a connection that it's harder to get as you get older. So I try not to embed everything with that sort of nostalgic rose-covered glasses, because it's just not the way it is for me. Otherwise, I would just hate every show because I'd be like, it's not DS9 or TNG.
Yeah, I think that's like, I don't know. Star Trek's came a long way. Like, can we just point that out? It's came a goddamn long way, and it is nothing like what it used to be. Like, we have to admit that. And
I would say Strange New Worlds is the closest to TOS that any of the series have got, including the TNG series.
Yes, but in the way it's presented, I think that it is so much better. Like, the acting has gone to such a level that it is extraordinarily and exquisitely acted. Like, it is not...
I don't think the acting is a problem with Strange New Worlds. I think this season the gimmicks are a problem with Strange New Worlds.
Yeah, well, that's a writing issue.
The puppet episode, and I reviewed the puppet episode, and I enjoyed it on a level, but to be so lazy as to just go at the end, and it was a dream. Like, it's been everyone's issue. And that, to me, it's a bit like... So you can come up with an excuse for a musical. And like, there's a million reasons. They literally, in Lower Decks, had an episode where they turned one of the guys, the Darmonkey guys, into a puppet. They turned a character into a puppet, and they had to protect him the whole time.
Yeah.
So they've done it before, but in Lower Decks, which sadly isn't on anymore.
Yeah, but that's a shame.
It does feel the gimmicky season. I'm a bit over gimmicks.
I get that, but when I was specifically talking about is the acting and the level of acting, I think that the writing and stuff like that, it's there. Like, they've got all the framework there. It's just, I feel like, again, that you're right, they've focused too much on gimmicks.
They seem a little afraid to write a Star Trek episode.
Well, this episode was
just
definitely
a Star Trek episode.
This was definitely a Star Trek episode.
It had technobabble.
Great.
It had technobabble. It had phenomena. It had life's under threat. Like, it's a Star Trek episode, but it's a highly dramatic Star Trek episode.
Yeah.
And I loved that. Like, I loved it just going, okay, we're not dealing with something wacky this week.
Yeah.
Like, who knows what will happen next week?
Well, it's still wacky.
I know what will happen next week. But yeah, I enjoyed this. I actually, it was just a nice, like, breath of fresh air to have a Star Trek episode.
Yeah, it did feel good. It was a good episode.
And you were really enthralled. Like, when Mbega got split in half and there was a genuine reaction, I thought it was a fake reaction because I'm like, that's a very big reaction. But
no, it invoked a lot of reactions. It invoked a lot of, like, every part of this episode. And I was saying, the acting has came a long way. Like, it is a really, really good episode.
When it is cut in half, it reminds me of that scene, and I said this in Technicity, reminds me of that scene from Scary Movie 3, where Charlie Sheen's talking about his wife's been impaled by a car on a tree, and Charlie Sheen's talking about how his wife split. I'll put a clip for it.
The truck is the only thing that is holding her together.
Let's say this is her bottom half. Can I squeeze in a few minutes with that?
I'm not sure what you mean.
Let me explain.
But I remember just going, is he splayed this way? No, with the hot dog and everything. Anyway, that was immediately what I thought about. And I don't know, I thought I found it funny.
I didn't think of that.
Yeah, that's what I thought about. Split in half, like down the side? No.
Yeah.
In the middle. What if I would have timed with a lower half? But yeah, this is, other than the dinosaur episode, which was arguably quite fun, this is one of the better episodes of the season so far.
Yeah, it's a really, really good episode.
I still don't think they've topped season 2. I liked season 2.
Season 2 was great.
Overall, you like it? Anything else you want to say?
No, I can't think of anything else. Can you?
No.
No.
But what did you think about
You can't.
bones coming out of legs, people being impaled,
A lot of
Chapel's
gore.
finger freezing off?
Yeah, that we didn't even talk
What
about
else?
that.
What else?
We didn't even talk about her literally losing a finger.
Because it was the least, even though it was like graphically her finger came off, it was the least graphic thing in the episode.
It was, but
Oh,
at
no,
the
her
same
finger
time, the
froze off.
reasonings of why that happened. Like, literally having to open a door and, like, basically cryo freeze Mbanga just to save him. Like,
Yeah, but it was, once again, it's the least shocking graphically. It was just like glass. Anyways, I've been Trektrav.
I
This
love
has been Ribbit,
Just to let you know.
and I got to talk to her.
I am jealous.
That interview will be out within a couple of days. I don't know when I'm going to release it because I want this video to do well. Treknicity is also out, should be out about the same time as this on Treknicity. I'll put the link in the bio. I'm also there talking about this episode. I am everywhere talking about this episode. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you next week.